Anti-Assad demonstrators marching through central Damascus earlier this month, right to the door of those still loyal to the regime. For Ibtisam Ibrahim, life there had become unbearable. The next day, she and her family fled. But she doesn't class herself as a refugee. She is Circassian. Her ancestors came from the northern Caucasus, and like hundreds of others, she wants the Russian government to legally repatriate her.
This is our ancestral homeland. We're connected to this land. Syria is also our country. We love Syria. We lived well there, but our roots are here.
A Circassian delegation went on a fact-finding mission to Syria last month. They found hundreds of Circassian families who also wanted to leave.
The Circassian community in the Syrian conflict is pro-Assad. The possible coming to power of the radical Syrian opposition is viewed by the Russians and the Circassian community as a direct threat to their lives.
The Circassians were forced out of the North Caucasus in the 19th century by Tsarist Russian forces. 2 centuries later, their ancestral home is a beautiful but troubled land. Armed separatists have launched a wave of attacks, killing tourists, local politicians and police. Their bombing campaign last year brought down a cable car and provoked the security forces to close down the resort for 8 months.
The less you know, the better you sleep. That's all I can say about the bomb under the cable car.
Tourists have been slow to return, but these troubles won't slow the Circassian push to come home. The Russian government has yet to respond to the Circassians' pleas to be able to leave Syria and come back here to their ancestral home in the mountains. But it's put the government in a very difficult position. To agree would mean them basically admitting there is a humanitarian crisis in Syria and refugees should be allowed to flee. But to say no risks antagonising the Circassian community who has always lived here in the North Caucasus.
It would fix historic misunderstandings between Circassians and the Russians. It's very important for us to live in a new Russia that respects everyone's rights.
The Circassians, who have already made it back, are calling on the Russian government to legally recognise them as citizens. But they still pray for the country they called home for so many years.
I don't need photos to remember Syria. It's in my heart.
Turton, Al Jazeera, Nalchik in the northern Caucasus.